This is the 2022 Honda Passport Trailsport. That's a new trim for this year. So does the off-road inspired Trailsport trim make this a proper off-road SUV? Let's dive in. Honda introduced this Passport for the 2019 model year, reviving a nameplate that we hadn't seen since 2003. Now, this is effectively a shortened two-row version of the larger three-row Pilot you may be more familiar with. This is a mid-size SUV that competes with others like the Subaru Outback, Jeep Grand Cherokee, and Kia Sorento, and this Trailsport trim specifically tries to appeal to those who might be looking at a Subaru Outback Wilderness or a Kia Sorento X-Line. So the Passport, especially in this Trailsport, guys, is a mid-size SUV with plenty of space that appeals to families who are looking for something with a little bit more of that adventurous style. Now, with this 2022 mid-cycle update, the Passport is all new from the A-pillars forward. You'll see a more upright front grille and a bit of a power bulge in the hood. Plus, with this Trailsport edition, you'll see that orange Trailsport badge in the grille, which has some mountains in it to show everyone how adventurous you are on the weekends. Now, along the side, you'll see these 18-inch wheels. Every other Passport has 20s, but these 18s mean a bit more sidewall for better ride quality, plus maybe a little extra puncture resistance off-road. The wider 18-inch wheels also give a 10mm track increase, which won't make a huge difference, but could add a little bit of stability. Around back, the Trailsport has a unique rear bumper with cutouts for the larger rear exhaust tips, as well as another Trailsport badge on the tailgate. So I really like this design. Even though this Trailsport trim doesn't really add much capability, the 2022 Passport succeeds in looking a little tougher, a little more rugged, and a little more adventurous than last year's model. Honda fits the Passport with a positively cavernous interior and tons of standard features. This is where you'll see most of that Trailsport trim too. We see the orange Trailsport logo embroidered on the front headrests, and it's embossed on the rubber floor mats. Plus, that rubber makes it easier to hose out the Passport after a weekend of dirty camping. Now, these orange contrast stitches are exclusive to the Trailsport trim, and we also get amber interior lighting. Honda goes for soft touch plastics on the exterior door handles and the dash, which feel high quality and don't reflect too much light. In the center console, we have a nice shelf for wallet, keys, plus a standard wireless charging pad, and this enormous center console, which will store just about anything you need. Up front, we have a standard 8-inch touchscreen infotainment display with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as standard. The rear seats also have plenty of legroom. There's enough room for me at 6'1" to comfortably sit behind myself with a few inches to spare. Behind the rear seats, you have a huge 41 cubic feet of cargo space, which is almost 10 more cubic feet than a Subaru Outback. And with the seats folded down, you have 77.7 cubic feet, which is enough to carry just about anything you need. I really like what Honda has done with this interior, both in terms of packaging, space, and design. Well done. Mainstream midsize SUV buyers expect an SUV with enough power for passing and merging on the highway, and enough towing capacity to tow a small boat or trailer. This Passport has a 3.5-liter V6 putting out 280 horsepower and 262 pound-feet of torque, which is good for 0 to 60 in 6.2 seconds and a towing capacity of 5,000 pounds. Fuel economy-wise, you'll get 19 mpg city and 24 mpg highway, which is okay, but not quite as good as its competitors, which have smaller turbocharged 4-cylinder engines. Now, the Passport's pretty decent off-road with 8.1 inches of ground clearance and short front and rear overhangs, but it's worth pointing out that 8.1 isn't a ton of ground clearance for a modern SUV. Both the Subaru Crosstrek and Toyota RAV4 have closer to 8.5 inches. So the Passport is a relatively strong performer. It's pretty quick, it can tow a fair amount, and even though it doesn't have the strongest fuel economy numbers in the segment, it's still worth a look. So the Passport is a pretty safe midsize SUV, but doesn't get the strongest score from the IIHS. Looking at IIHS safety testing, it gets the highest possible good ratings in 5 out of 6 crashworthiness tests, but it misses out on a top safety pick because of an acceptable rating in the small overlap front passenger side test. It does, however, get a 5-star overall safety rating from the NHTSA. Now, Honda includes its Honda Sensing collection of standard driver assist active safety features on every Passport. You don't have to pay any extra, even if you go for the base model. That means adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert. It's all included. So although this doesn't have the absolute strongest crashworthiness tests in the segment, it's still a pretty strong performer. Let's talk about pricing. If you want an entry-level Passport, the two-wheel drive model starts right around $39,000, and this Trailsport starts at $43,700. The example we have here rings in at $44,000 for its optional Sonic Gray Pearl paint. To put those numbers in a little bit of perspective, a Subaru Outback Wilderness comes in at $38,000, a Kia Sorento X-Line around $40,000, and a Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo X rings in at the same $44,000 as the car we have sitting here. Considering the Trailsport doesn't add much in terms of actual off-road capability, it's definitely a bit rich for what it is. That said, the Passport offers a ton of interior space, some fun little touches inside with that Trailsport trim, plus the packaging and expected reliability we've come to associate with Honda. Our advice? Unless you love the look of this Trailsport and its 18-inch wheels, save yourself a couple grand and get the cheapest all-wheel drive Passport you can find. If there are a few things to know about the Honda Passport Trailsport, it's that it offers more space and better performance than a comparable Subaru Outback, even if that Trailsport trim doesn't offer much in terms of increased off-road capability. Now, if you are looking for that ruggedness, Honda will be adding lifted suspension, off-road tires, skid plates, and tow hooks to the Trailsport trim in the coming years. For now, though, this is a peppy midsize SUV with tough looks that could be a wise pick. To check out our latest vehicle rankings and our complete buyer's guide, go to motortrend.com/cars.